two scientists provided to the Pentagon, that the reporters should have been paying attention to what these scientists said before, but you are criticizing the reporting that occurred before that was revealed to the public.
Yeah. Well, Gary, it's kind of the argument you're making is this, and it's totally ludicrous in my mind. It's saying, like, I got a 12-gauge shotgun. I know it can blow a hole in something, but if I don't give the exact parameters and the spread pattern of the shotgun, then I shouldn't have any idea about what the shotgun's capable of.
No, that's
the argument you're making. Yeah, it is the argument you're making, because I'll tell you why.
I'm not making that argument. Don't represent, and maybe I did.
All right. Let me tell you why the reporters should have.
So the reporters should not have reported what they knew when they knew it?
Well, they should have been skeptical, Gary.
Well, maybe they are skeptical. Maybe they are skeptical.
If you had a report in front of you, then you knew a bomb went down a shaft with no resistance, and this bomb had the capability to penetrate 200 feet into the earth and harden rock. And you know the explosive power of this bomb. And then you look at something that this dude showing you and said, yeah, but it doesn't do anything. You had these basic facts in front of you. As a matter of integrity, I might want to check in. Does this make any sense, what I'm seeing on the screen here? Because it don't make sense. It went down a ventilation shaft. It was designed to penetrate 200 feet in earth and rock. Not a ventilation shaft, and we put 6 in there. And you're saying that if you're looking at the screen, knowing all these variables, that you're going to believe, yeah, but it was just kind of like a little firecracker.
I think I need to educate, and it's a good thing you brought it up, because maybe a lot of people have to be educated about what reporters do. When reporters report, it's not a question of what they believe or what they don't believe. It's a question of what they know to report. At the time that the Defense Intelligence Agency, which was charged with making an initial assessment, they made an initial assessment, and it was accurately reported that this is what the DIA's it was accurately reported that this is what the DIA's assessment was.
Maybe they should have looked at the fact that the report said it had a low confidence level too. Maybe they should have looked at that.
They did. I watched all that reporting as it unfolded.
Well, that should make you a little skeptical.
That's up to you and me. That's up to listen, Steve, it's up to the individual consumer of the news to determine whether they are skeptical or whether there's a high degree of veracity to what is offered. And we're all going to interpret
as a reporter, if you gather information and it's conflicting with known facts,
it wasn't a known fact.
It was known fact about the potential of these bombs. It was known facts that these bombs went down a ventilation shaft. It was known facts that these bombs had a penetration depth of 200 feet. This was known. They knew that. And there was 6 of them went down the shaft.
So then you're suggesting that there's... Okay, wait a minute. So you're suggesting that it was a waste of taxpayer money and continues to be a waste of taxpayer money for the intelligence community to try to assess how effective the attack was, because we knew even before the attack occurred that it was a success.
Well, there's levels of destruction, Gary, and if you're gathering information, you want to make sure you understand the complete picture. But
okay, let's understand the complete picture, because I want to.
Hold it just a second. I guarantee you there was not one general in that Pentagon, when those missiles went down that ventilation shaft, believed anything other than they had hit the bullseye and mission accomplished. I guarantee you not one of them doubted that.
Okay.
Knowing the facts about the properties of this bomb.
Okay, fine. Let's accept that, Steve. Let's accept that. Now let me ask you this. Do you agree with Lindsey Graham's assessment, or do you agree with Senator Warren's assessment?
Yeah, and for you to say this is contradictory. No, there's two elements to this that are true. Both of them agree that the 3 sites, which was the primary objective of this raid, was accomplished. The only fact in question is where's the uranium. And for everyone to say the nuclear program's still around because they got 60% of uranium, you tell me where's the centrifuges that's going to spin that up and turn it into 90% if they're at the bottom of a mountain. How are they going to do it?
Do you know that?
How are they going to spin it up? How are they going to spin that and turn it into 90% uranium if it's at the bottom of a mountain, Gary?
Yeah, so you are aware that, because this is breaking news, to quote Tucker Carlson, you're making news here, Senator. That's what he said to Ted Cruz. You're making news here, Steve. I didn't know that Iran doesn't have other centrifuge facilities elsewhere.
So you're assuming that the Mossad and the CIA is just totally incompetent. That's the assumption I'm playing, right?
Did I say that?
You have to assume that to believe that the Mossad, one of the best intelligence agencies on the face of the earth, and the CIA that has satellite reconnaissance over this nonstop is incapable of detecting another centrifuge site. Do you hear yourself?
I didn't say that.
Well, that's an implication. That's an implication you're making. Yes, it is, Gary.
No, listen, Steve.
It is.
Disagree. Steve, you're welcome to disagree with anything I say. You're not welcome to put words in my mouth. And I did not say that.
Well, you asked the question, could there be other centrifuge sites? What's the implication of that question? What's the implication of that question?
There is no implication of that question.
Well, sure there is. The implication of your question, Gary, is simply this. We may have taken them out, but they hid a little thing over here, so the threat still exists. That's the implication of your question, and you know it.
It's not an implication of anything. I'm saying explicitly, you don't know what the CIA and the Mossad knows. You don't know that they don't have their eyes targeting another site that you and I don't know about.
Well, no, I don't.
Okay,
but I
so
do
how can any of us?
But I do know this. Gary. How long has the nuclear program been a problem for Israel? How long has that nuclear problem been around for the United States? And you're telling me in this whole time when we've been in this quagmire with this nuclear program that somehow we took our eyes off the ball and didn't pay attention to what they've done. It's asinine to the core. It's asinine to the core.
Okay, Steve, you are projecting. I never said that.
I'm not projecting anything. I'm not projecting.
You are, because
I am saying there are clear facts at play here.
Okay.
The facts at play.
I'm going to apologize to you because obviously I'm not a very good communicator today, because I'm saying one thing and you're feeding back to me something that I didn't think I said, but apparently I did, and thank you for correcting me.
If I misinterpreted anything you said, Gary, I apologize. I didn't mean.
You're not listening. Well, then you're not listening to me when I'm telling you that you misinterpreted it. Well, one of two things happened here. Either you misinterpreted what I said, or I did not accurately express myself in my questioning of
it. Could be a combination of both, Gary.
Right,
it could be a combination of both.
All right, but please don't. When I tell you that's not what I'm saying, I'm not lying.
All right,
that's not what I'm saying.
You're right. I shouldn't extrapolate that. But it defies logic for me to know that we had this kind of intensity, we had this kind of development, we had this type of knowledge, not only in the military, but in the private sector about breach and rock formations. Like I say, the fracturing industry in oil and gas is a well understood scientific field. We know this stuff. And we know that these bombs, which can penetrate 200 feet through rock and dirt, went through a ventilation shaft with a low concrete cap on top, what kind of impeding action do you think that had? And we put 6 in there, and we're still debating about whether it went off like an M80 at the bottom of that hill or it really done damage. It is asinine to the core. The logic at play here. And I'm out.
All right, Steve. Mojo.
Yeah, let me just say that it is a privilege and an honor to share a stage with you, Gary. I'm glad that you're consistently doing these rooms. It's amazing. As for the speakers that I've listened to over the last hour and 18 minutes or whatever it's been, I think they've had interesting takes. That is, if their goal was to completely ignore everything that matters. And the thing that matters is that we now have an administration that is willing to bomb Iran. That is what matters. The fact that, whether or not, we did some damage, completely obliterated it, completely irrelevant. If they decide that they want to send people and weapons and equipment out to those sites, we can simply bomb them again and again and again and again. It took us 50 years, but we now have an administration that is willing to understand that Iran is the head of the snake, specifically the IRGC. I have no smoke with the Iranian people. I have smoke with their government, and their government sponsors terror everywhere. And so as long as that is the case, I think the United States is late to jumping into this. I want to credit Bibi. I want to credit the state of Israel, Donald Trump, and the United States military for what they're doing. This is overdue. And the fact that people are worried about how much damage was done, who cares? We're now on record of saying if you can't have a bomb, and if we see that you're trying to obtain one, we're going to bomb you. We're going to bomb you. It's no more talk. It's actually it's moved to action, and I couldn't be fucking happier. Thank you.
I should have known when I saw the cigar who you were. Thank you, Mojo.
I'll keep it short, Gary. And I got a bunch of folks here on stage. I think there was talk earlier that President Hexep attacks the press and playing victim. 100% agree that's distraction. It's not just distraction and unprofessional. It's just such a fool's errand. Just like a leader of the free world, acting out like he's an upset moderator on Clubhouse. Like that's what Trump is getting. If not to mention, I think someone referenced it aligns, that sort of trying to control and criticize the press aligns with Russia, aligns with China, and journalists disappearing. So I think at the end of the day, there was a gentleman here that you referenced, older gentleman who's very biased, and I can understand from his years of service. I believe as a Navy submarine.
We're all biased. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me just, because the word bias has a negative connotation. And look, I have an opinion, but if you disagree with me, you don't have an opinion, you're biased. We all have opinions.
Agreed. No, I say that to say because when you had mentioned earlier that we need to, if we are criticizing Trump, the leader of this country, that means we're criticizing the military and the efforts that the young men and women in those B-52s did, which I don't think anyone can argue whether you're pro or anti-military. Was incredibly impressive. And criticizing that, well, they didn't do their job, they hit the target, but did they do enough damage to achieve the objective? So we don't know. The bottom line is nobody knows aside from those that know, and getting these constant mixed messages. As you said earlier, Hegseth could just say, you know what, we don't know at this point, too early to tell, we're still investigating what damage we've done, but just to flat out say, oh yeah, this is what's happened. It's like, are we thanking the president for his intent to go after and disarm any chance of Iran having nuclear weapons? Are we thanking him for the impact of trying to control the media, trying to control the narrative, and literally it's your way or it's his way or the highway, and how dare you question the authority of the emperor as a journalist? I think that is pathetic, and it's bad enough that they can't give us some sort of consistent answer. As you said, several high-ranking officials came out of that meeting with very different variations of the movie they just saw. Now you have folks in Clubhouse on both sides perpetuating misinformation as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Moose. Dominic.
Am I up?
Dominic is up, yes.
Okay. Hey, Gary. I'm going to keep it brief because that was a mouthful between you and Steve.